Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Happy Halloween. Looking back at the previous game, Players of the Week, Clayton Thorson on offense was our Player of the Week. Big playmaker was Austin Carr. Defensively was Tyler Lancaster, and big playmaker was Godwin Igwe-Buke. Special teams-wise, Jared McGee. 3 practice Players of the Week. Jesse Brown on offense, Brian Bullock on defense, and Mo Mastery on special teams. Did a great job. Fired up for this weekend, getting back home. Another top 10 opponent. Going to have Brian Peters as our honorary captain. The Texans have a bye week. Refresh your memory about Brian, academic All-Big Ten player from 07 to 11. He's third in program history with 12 interceptions, and he's doing a great job for the Texans. We're really proud of him. He had to take the hard road to make it to the NFL, went through Canada, persevered, and just has done a terrific job in his career. And so going to be fired up to see BP and have him back here in Evanston. Looking to this weekend, obviously Wisconsin's an outstanding football team. Coach Chris and his staff have done a great job defensively. They picked up right where they were last year, obviously a coordinator change, but picked up right where they were a year ago and probably better. 8 returning starters, really impressive on tape across the board. Same thing in the kicking game. They do a really good job fundamentally and schematically. And then offensively, going with the 2 quarterbacks, played multiple running backs. They're physical up front. They put a lot of pressure on you schematically. Paul does a great job with what he does. We've competed against him quite a bit, not only in his years as the head coach, but then as his years as the OC. And Joe Rudolph does a great job with their offense too. So very, very talented football team. Had a big win against Nebraska over the weekend. It was a heck of a football game to watch, and coach's copy, heck of a battle, and going to have our hands full Saturday. So with that, how about some questions, please?
I might be writing about Brian Peters more this week. How much have you kept up with him? What all do you know about his rise to the NFL there?
Yeah, pretty much just about every guy that I reach out to that has graduated typically. We have a pretty good dialogue and pretty good follow-up. That's about 99.9%. But Brian and I are very close. He's back here working out a couple times last year. I actually saw his parents when I was down in Naples on vacation. That was a fun night. Just by pure happenstance, ran into him when we were out to dinner one night. So we're incredibly proud of him. A guy that if we probably had a little bit more secondary depth during his career, we would have moved to linebacker. But had a terrific career as a safety here for us. Projected as an NFL linebacker, and had to take the long road. Went up to Canada, played well. I believe they won a Grey Cup when he was up there playing. And, then got an opportunity to get into a camp. And talking to OB, the times that I've talked to him about Brian, he absolutely loves him. I think he only played in 10 games last year and may have been second in the NFL in kickoff tackles. Was not far away from being all-pro as a special teams player. So I think he even kicked off this year, if I read that correctly, against Minnesota. Twice against Minnesota.
He kicked the football.
Yeah, kicked off. Yeah, so pretty talented guy.
So you underutilized him here, obviously.
I get accused of that a lot. So yeah, it's nothing new. Nothing new.
What do you find that guys like him, guys like Trevor, guys who are able to make it?
Yeah.
Is there a common denominator?
Sure.
What is it there?
Talent, perseverance. I mean, it's a cutthroat business. It's an opportunity presents itself, and the guys are able to go seize it. I think all of our guys, as I've talked to them, whether they've made it or not, have been very clear with me that they felt like they've been 100% prepared, if not more prepared, than other guys from a standpoint of what we ask our guys to do mentally and schematically in all 3 phases. From the way that we practice, the guys kind of chuckle at how easy practices are in the NFL compared to here. Then the level of competition playing in the Big Ten, they're playing against the best every weekend. So, I think we've had quite a few guys over my, 10 years get opportunities. And when you see guys make it, and at least for a year, you take great pride, not only in the way that you prepared them, but also I think more importantly for what they're able to get accomplished and get done. And Brian's one of those, I think, great examples of not necessarily maybe going through the front door of getting drafted high, kind of getting some extra time to mature within an organization. He was a guy that kind of had to go through the back door and fight his way in. And, he's having a great career. Really proud of him.
So in your playing career and your coaching career, would you say the Northwestern Wisconsin series is a rivalry in any way, or how would you describe that series in general in recent years, especially?
Yeah, I would say that probably every game in the Big Ten is a rivalry, whether or not you play for a trophy or not. Probably with our proximity to each other, I think the games since '95 have been really competitive for the most part. Not all, but most have been very competitive. Going back through, the coaches that I've had a chance to compete with that have been head coaches. With Brett, I'm still really close with Brett. Gary, very close with him, and now with Paul, especially with them going to be in an Under Armour school also. We had a great weekend at the Preakness this year. So, great respect from our end. I've known Coach Alvarez for a long time. And I know from our standpoint, there's great respect for their program, the way that they play. They play the game the right way. They always have. They're physical. They're tough. They're well coached. They're fundamentally sound. And it's, like I said, they've been relatively, I think for the most part, pretty close games.
Coach, looking at Clayton Thorson's development, what have you seen that's made the big jump and improvement? It seems like he's reading the defenses better and doing better decision-making to start with.
Yeah, I think it's just maturity in the position. He's whatever now, 20 games or so into his college career. And to just watch the way a player improves through experience, it's invaluable. And I think he's got great confidence in the guys up in front of him. I think he's got great confidence in the skill set around him. And we're, for the most part, really doing a great job catching the football. And to see where our drop rate has gone through this year has been great. It's been a great job by Coach Springer, but more importantly, it's been a great job by the young men. They've worked really hard. So I think there's really good chemistry right now in that group. But from what I've seen from Clayton, he's just maturing, and he's got great confidence. And he's going to play one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the conference and in the country this weekend. And so he's going to have his hands full. These guys are relentless. They're fun to watch. As a former neck roll Big Ten linebacker, they're fun to watch. They fly around. They do a great job.
Hands full. Joseph Jones, married, and was the baby already born?
Yeah.
Okay. So what all is happening in that situation? How have you been able to help him out, and has he needed some time off?
He hasn't taken any time off, which is unbelievable. He hasn't asked. I would give him whatever he needs, quite frankly. I told him about sleep being overrated leading up to it. Now I think he realizes exactly what I was talking about. But he's handled it incredibly well. Just really, you can't say enough. He's mature and beyond his years. Very, very happy for he and his wife. Baby's healthy, doing well, and it's a lot on his plate, but he's handling it great.
Seems like he's around the ball a lot. What kind of a season is he having?
Yeah, he's having a really good year. He's got a little beat up, had the injury to his hand, and I think he's dealt with that really well. I mean, like everybody now, you go to November in college football and nobody's feeling 100%. So I think he's battled through a lot. I think he's had obviously a ton thrown onto his life and onto his plate from a standpoint of being a husband and now a father. And I think he's handled it absolutely incredible. So I'm not surprised, even if it is hard, he's not showing it, which we all know as fathers, it is hard, So just really proud of him. I know his family is too, and his teammates have all offered to babysit. I think that is a lie, but they have no idea what they'd be getting into. But it's great. I'm really happy for he and his wife.
And those two important plays in the final 3 minutes, where were the breakdowns when you looked at them on film? The third down pass and the...
Yeah, we just got beat. We got beat. We've already moved on. We got beat.
Coach, John Moten probably didn't enter this year expecting to play much, but with Warren Long out, he's sort of stepped into a role, and you seem to be using him more as the season goes on. How is he developing and as he's getting playing time now?
I think John's doing well. I think he's learning how to be a Big Ten running back, and that's more than just having the ball. and I think he's really working hard at it. You're right. He's like a lot of our players that went into the year probably thinking they're going to ride the bus and eat the steak and just kind of chillax a little bit and maybe get in a game here or there. And that's why you get prepared. And I think if you were to look back, like probably a lot of our younger guys that are playing significant roles, they would change maybe their mental approach to the way that they prepared, because now they're right in the thick of the grind, right in the thick of Big Ten play. And I think John, though, for the most part, has handled it really well.
Coach Tyler Lancaster had 5 tackles last week. Didn't have any of the game before, but sometimes when you play D tackle, those things make no interest whatsoever. So tell us about his play since he's been healthy and his progression.
Well, I thought he played really well on Saturday. I thought both he and Jordan played well inside. I thought CJ played well on the outside. We need to get more production from the other guys, quite frankly. But, I thought those 3 in particular played well, and especially Tyler. That's why he was our player of the game. I thought he was a hard spot inside. It was tough sledding for them with their inside run game. Obviously, they attacked our flank, and we didn't play some plays very well. Didn't tackle very well in the open field. But, I think Tyler's just continuing to come on. He's like I said in the past. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a defensive tackle with a bigger smile on his face. He's in a world of double teams. He's in a nasty world of the trenches in the Big Ten, and he just embraces his role and gives everything he's got. I think he's playing at a really high level. And you're right, inside, especially on first and second down, there might not be the flash plays, and I think he definitely pushes the interior. He occupies a lot of space. He's strong at the point of attack. He's fundamentally very good. And, I think he gives us an opportunity to stop the run just by the way that he plays the game and the attitude that he approaches. So I think he's having a really solid season. But 4 big ones ahead of us and a huge challenge this week. I mean, you got, 313, 321, 325, 333, 314 across that front. It's going to be a huge challenge for our defense. Huge. Literally and figuratively, I guess I'd say.
Just about those Wisconsin quarterbacks, are they different enough that it influences how you deal with them?
Righty and lefty. I mean, I guess that's a pretty big difference, right? I've really been impressed by Alex. I mean, as a freshman to come in and play the way he has in the big games that they've played in, wow. It's a wow on tape. And, we've kind of followed them a little bit as we've gone through the year. We've had some similar opponents, but we've played them the week after. The way he played against Michigan State was outstanding, and then, obviously the last few weeks they've gone with a little bit more of a two quarterback system. A lot of similarities. You have to ask Paul specifically, and I'm sure he won't tell you. Yeah, I'm sure he won't tell you, but they run their offense. They run their offense. They I wouldn't say it's Trevor and Kane. I'd say it's more similar than different from a standpoint of schematics. But I'm sure within their offensive staff room, there's some nuances, some things they like better. With an older guy, some things maybe they like better. With Alex, I would say this: when you watch it on tape and you look at the analytics, it doesn't show a big discrepancy. So. It's also early in the week for us. It's Monday, and so I've gone through all the games, and now, as we start to go through situational football, we'll obviously find the things that we think. Did you recruit Alex? No, not that I'm aware of. Somebody had their hand up in front here.
Coach, I know you're moving on from last week, but last season, in some of the biggest games against toughest opponents, especially on the road, you guys didn't even hang around in some of those games, and then on Saturday to be in that game until the very end. What does that say about the progression of this team or the preparedness?
Well, we're a work in progress. We're an average football team, and it's what we look like on tape. Saturday is another example of that. We had ample opportunities. in all three phases, and we were really inconsistent fundamentally. I thought we were really inconsistent as a team in our effort and our strain to not only finish, but to win on some one-on-one battles and some plays, and I think that cost us in the long run. I mean, it's to Skip's question, you can point to those two, but those two are insignificant if we do some things differently earlier in the game or maybe in some other phases. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I think our margin for error, like most teams, is pretty slim. And when we don't play with maximum fundamental effort, and just a relentlessness about us, I think we give things away. And there were too many plays that we gave away in all three phases on Saturday. And that's our job as a staff. We've got to squeeze everything out of this group that we can. And this will be there'll be no bigger challenge than this week. I mean, the effort level that the Badgers play with as a coach is really, really fun to watch. I mean, I think they are the definition of relentless. I think they play really hard up front on both sides of the ball. I think all their linebackers are outstanding. They're all outstanding. Secondary is deep, talented, play great man-to-man technique, understand what they're doing. You see them make checks to formations and are all on the same page and are physical and got great skill sets. The backs are – all three that they're playing would start anywhere in our conference and probably anywhere in the country. They got great speed on the outside at wide receiver. Troy's probably the best tight end in the Big Ten. You could say. I think so on tape. So far from what I've seen, and I haven't seen Jake, so I can't speak to that. I'm sure Jake's having a great year too at Michigan. I just haven't seen him because we're not playing him. And then up front, they're ginormous. So I mean. This team is outstanding, and we've got to get a lot better this week if we're going to have a chance to compete. And that's just not last week's performance. That's just kind of, I think, indicative of the squad and running out of sand in the hourglass. So we're just going to grind, and hopefully we'll get better this week and get ready for a great team.
Coach, early in the season, Jack Mitchell seemed to have some problems. Are you feeling like he's getting his confidence back now in the last few weeks with the way he's kicking?
Yeah, I don't think Jack ever lost his confidence. Knowing Jack the way that I know him, I just think that he had to make some corrections fundamentally a little bit. And even two of the extra points on Saturday, he hit way behind the ball. And now they're extra points, so it doesn't really matter. But I think he hit both field goals pretty well. I think Fitzpatrick's had a really good career snapping the ball. A guy that doesn't get talked about a lot. His family's the only people that know that he's on the field, with the big old my son wears 52 button. But, it's great when you don't talk about the long snapper for a whole career. And, he let us out of the tunnel last week as our special teams player of the week. That was pretty cool for him. And he's earned it throughout his career. And we've been pretty fortunate, pretty blessed. I mean, the weather was ridiculous Saturday, and it sounds like it's going to be a great day Saturday again. So hopefully, knock on wood, we'll continue to have it that way. But, I think just the whole operation, Fitz and Cooch and Jack have been pretty solid all year.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys. Again, happy Halloween. Thanks. Go Cats.
I just want to ask if any of you guys are ready for fatherhood, like Joseph Jones apparently is. How's he handling it? And you guys are all offering to help, I assume?
Well, if anybody were to have a kid on our team and handle it well, it would be Joe. He's a great guy, and I can only imagine the type of father he's going to be. He still comes to work every day, still puts in the work that he did before, and I'm sure he's putting in the work at home too and helping his wife out. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love Joe. I don't think I could do what he does. He's got a lot on his plate right now, obviously, but I'm happy for him, and he seems genuinely happy. And even though he's probably tired all the time, he's happy, and so I love the guy. I'm happy for him.
Different challenge, both of you guys this week, facing a little less mobile quarterback. Than obviously his strategy changes a little bit concerning the quarterback when he's not as mobile as Barrett was Saturday.
For the D-line, I think that means we could maybe take more risks, get a little more aggressive. With a mobile quarterback, a lot of the times we have to focus on containing him in the pocket. Maybe this time we can move around a little bit and get to him, whatever possible. But that's all in the game plan. The coaches will let us know and we'll find out soon.
Yeah, each quarterback in the Big Ten brings a little something different to the table, and we'll take a look at their offense as a whole and the quarterback play and study them up a little bit. And I'm sure there's going to be some things that we can and can't do, just like with JT that we couldn't do. So.
Looking back at last year in some of you guys' bigger games, the scores weren't exactly close. And then on Saturday, to hang in that game all the way to the end, I know moral victories aren't important, but do you think that says something about the progression of your team this year?
Yeah, we're taught to fight. We're fighters. We're always going to fight in big games. Even the games that we lost big in last year, we were still fighting. So, yeah, it says a lot about the character of our team that we're always going to go out there and give it our all and fight till the end. And just unfortunate that we came up a little short.
Yeah, we focus on fighting through the fourth quarter. Even in practice, we have to finish strong. Not only start strong, but we emphasize going 15 rounds in the ring with the opponent. And, we gave it our all. We left it all on the field. And there are no moral victories. Like, we wanted to go in there and win. It doesn't matter what rank they are. But, we left it all on the field.
After the 40 points at Michigan State the last 2 weeks have been a lot better from a defensive standpoint. How do you think that you've improved, and what did you learn from that Michigan State game that you've applied as a unit?
Well, every week you learn from your mistakes, obviously. In the Michigan State game, we made some critical mistakes that Michigan State exploited. And we got those corrected, communication errors, fitting in the wrong gap, this, that, and the other. Sometimes you might have those type of mistakes in a game and the other team just doesn't exploit them. So, but yeah, we've obviously grown as a defense. We've gotten a lot better since that game. We're getting better each week. And then we only can focus on what we can control. So we'll go back to work and try to fix the things that we didn't do well against Ohio State.
Yes.
Fitz earlier described what a mean world it is where you operate. And then he says, but you always got a smile on your face. Why do you have a smile on your face when you're working in such a mean little world?
It's all about doing your job. And, if you don't have a smile on, if you're pouting in there, like, you're just going to get your butt whooped. And, I keep a positive attitude. I'm used to getting double teamed all game. And maybe not a lot of credit here or there. Like, not many stats show up for me. But, I'm there to do my job, and I feel I do it well. And I guess that's what put the smile on my face.
Find your job. What is your job in there since you're not running up stats?
Hold that A gap. Hold that whatever gap I have. I get double teamed a lot, like I say, and that allows the linebackers to flow over top. And if I take up a double team, if I command two people, that leaves one of the guys out back free, allowing them to make the play. So, although it doesn't show for me, them making the play, it's a translation, and I appreciate them for making those plays.
We as linebackers love Tyler for that, by the way.
Are you demanding? Are you getting a lot of double teams now?
Yeah, I feel so. Yeah, past few weeks especially. This past game, I had I got a few more tackles than I usually do, and I appreciate that because they'd chip block me and go off to the linebacker a little early, so I was able to get in my gap. But it just so happens it's wherever they run the ball. A lot of times they're not going to run it behind their up in my gap. Usually they go around outside, and I feel like they weren't afraid to last week, and that's why I think it showed up on the stat sheet.
A little insulting that they weren't afraid.
No, I made the tackles, so either way, whatever.
Nate, you're near that back end. What's it like in terms of how much, all the injuries and all the different faces who've been behind you there?
Can you repeat? I'm sorry.
Just with all the injuries in the secondary, what's it like, kind of been dealing with guys behind you and stuff and all the different faces and all that?
All those guys behind us, all of us linebackers, Lanny and the defensive line, we respect what they have to do back there to make calls. Even young guys coming in, they're doing well communicating, and we got to help them out too as experienced guys. Got a lot of us have a lot of starts under our belt, and we try to help those guys out as much as we possibly can. So it's a team sport. So
Tyler, it's factual that you're the strongest guy in the weight room. Tell us about your strength improvement from the day that you got here on campus to now.
Yeah, the strength staff has. I mean, I came in at like 280, and after that freshman year, just getting in the weight room a lot, I shot up to like 305, and all that translated to strength in the weight room. But the numbers in the weight room, they went up, but I feel like the play on the field went up even higher. Now I can take on 2 guys and still feel successful, like I didn't get pushed back. Then as a freshman, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's technique, but I'm sure I would have gotten knocked back even if I had the good technique then as well. But yeah, I mean, the weight room numbers have shown up on the field, and it's helped.
Nate, it seems like Anthony Walker has been progressing back to the player we saw last year in the middle of the season. What's it like playing with him in that unit?
Anthony's a great leader. He takes care of the calls, all the linebackers, make sure we're doing what we need to do. He does a lot more than what you guys see just on Saturdays on the field. As we go through practice, as we study film and things, Anthony's always in there trying to get us to improve, trying to improve himself. So he's a great guy to play with, and yeah.
And I guess for both of you, last week Ohio State had a couple of talented running backs. This week going up against Corey Clement. What's it like playing in the Big Ten where every week you're facing really talented running backs and big offensive lines too?
It's the Big Ten. We came to play here to play the best, so running backs in the Big Ten are good. All of them are good, so we're used to playing against them every week. We practice against them. Justin Jackson, we practice against them every week. So, like I said about the quarterbacks earlier, every running back in the Big Ten presents a new challenge. Corey Clement is a different dynamic than any other running back in the Big Ten. So we'll just have to study him up and develop a plan for him.
Yeah, and it's a different world for them than it is for me. It really doesn't matter the size or the speed of a running back. If they come into my world in the middle of the tackles, if they come into my gap, I'm going to try to make that play. I won't see them out in space like they will. But with the linemen, yeah, they're really big, but I think it's a leverage game. So if you could stay low, the size really doesn't matter. So.
And you had your number called a little bit earlier than normal in the game against Ohio State Saturday. You feel like you're getting more trust from the coaches now?
Yeah, I definitely think I've been getting more trust from the coaches. And I think my preparation has helped me a lot in the games.
Fitz was saying earlier at the beginning of the season, using his phrases, you might have expected yourself to just be a guy who was eating steak and riding the bus. But now all of a sudden you're playing. And does your preparation change? Does the intensity rise now that you are getting more time in games?
Preparation hasn't really changed, but I think I've learned a lot of things along the way. And I could definitely thank the older guys like Justin and Austin and Warren and Corey who've helped me learn some things along the way. But, it's football. Unfortunate things happen, and there's been a lot of injuries. But, one thing Coach Mack really emphasizes is everyone in the room should always be ready. And, I took that to heart when I first got here.
What did those older guys teach you?
Just how to read defenses, just playing fast, playing strong, being aggressive.
Tommy, everybody was so down on the O-line early in the season, and then, I don't know if it was at Iowa City, things really seemed to flip, and it's been great since. What are some things that have changed it for you guys?
Yeah, I wish I could point to some magic pill that we took, but I think it's really just doing our jobs but doing them better. And I'm not quite sure why necessarily it flipped when it did, but we just, as a group, we decided, I mean, after Illinois State, it would have been easy to kind of go in the tank, but big credit to our leaders, Eric Olson, Connor Mahoney, for just coming in, day out, and grinding it. Tuesday practices have been tough for us, but we've just been renewed focus on our technique. The coaching staff has been pushing us hard, but I think it's just cool the way that guys stuck together. We just said we're gonna keep fighting for each other and for the guys on our team, and we're gonna keep getting better. And it's great to see some results with that.
Tommy, Wisconsin's one of the best teams in the country at stopping the run. What's the challenge this week going to be like, and what do you guys have to do to continue this streak of playing well?
Yeah, so good question. I mean, Wisconsin's got a tremendous defense. They play really hard. But the thing is, at this point in the Big Ten season, we've been seeing great defensive lines up front for the last few weeks. So it's nothing that we haven't seen before. They're going to be big, physical, but if you think about it, that's the Big Ten. So it's going to be trusting the scheme that the coaches give us. We know that they're going to give us a good plan to be able to attack their defense, and then just coming out and finishing. It's the effort that we give. It's going to be the way that we prepare in the week, and then, I mean, it's cliche, but execute. Just go out, run our feet, finish to the end of the whistle, and good things have happened when we've done that.
John, looks like you had a bunch of really good schools that offered you. What was your recruitment like, and why did you choose here?
My recruitment was a pretty exciting experience for me, and I'd say I committed earlier than most people, but I think that's because this is a very special place that stood out to me. I really liked the coaching staff. I had a couple opportunities to get around the guys, and, we just bonded. That was good experiences, good memories, and also because of the academics.
John, do you feel like you have a reciprocal relationship with Justin Jackson, and that he's teaching you how to play the running back position, how to read defenses, and that you're giving him a rest when you come in as the change of pace guy?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I know you guys don't take any pride in moral victories, but last year some of the biggest games, scores weren't exactly close, and then on Saturday to be in there until the very last possession. What does that say about the progression of last year's team to this year?
Yeah, I think it, for one, shows some maturity. The fact that I look at Michigan State, we were down 2 scores early on, and then to be able to bounce back from that, I think it's the leadership. It's partly Clayton and the way that he's developed. But it's encouraging. I mean, coming into the game, we knew that it was going to be a 4-quarter fight, and so we were ready for that. And so we weren't surprised when we got into that situation and just kept fighting. But yeah, we are confident as a team that we can be fighting with any team that we go up against. So it was great to see evidence of that. In the last game, though, we are obviously disappointed with the outcome.